going on, guys? Okay, before we start the video, I just want to kind of go over who Vince is and what you're going to be listening to in the video. So basically, Vince is a buddy of mine. He is 23 years old. He's made a lot of money flipping cars. He actually talks about how much money he makes, which is surprising to me because I normally tell people not to, but he has made a shit ton of money, 100%. You guys can check all his stuff out, but he normally does the classic car stuff. All his information is going to be in the description below. His YouTube channel where he explains the story, how he started and how he made over $300,000 by flipping cars. And this is just like half the year, by the way. Also, his Instagram's really good. Check him out, classic Mustang stuff. I'll put a link in the description to all his stuff. But in this video, we talk about his story, where he came from, what he does to flip cars. He also has a course that he offers, and he pretty much tells you how to buy and sell cars, but the classic car stuff, okay? Because my course is mostly about the newer stuff. His stuff is all the older stuff. Highly recommend to get the course if you guys are interested in that. He goes into very deep detail, and he does answer a lot of questions for the people that buy the course because it's good amount of money. So you have direct access to him, but he has built a really good reputation for himself. He has a very good brand. Check him out, highly recommend it. But in this video, we just go over, just like the aspect of like how to build a car, how to sell it, how to market it properly. We kind of go over everything. Gives you guys like tidbits of information that you're definitely gonna need if you want to buy and sell cars on Craigslist. I figured this guy would be really good to introduce to you guys because a lot of you guys are his age. He started when he was like 19 flipping cars, not knowing shit. So if this guy can do it, you sure shit can, because you guys are probably mechanics and have the motivation. I mean, he had no experience, but he had the motivation, and he fucking went out and did it. So I hope you guys watch the entire thing. He's very knowledgeable what he does. 23 years old, just like me when I first started my first shop, and he's killing the game. It reminds me of me. He's like, I want to buy a fucking Ferrari next year, or by the end of this year. And I'm like, dude, that's what I thought when I was like 23 years old. I wanted to buy my Lambo at 23 and then just stunt, you know what I'm saying? And then just keep doing the flipping thing. But I did want other things. I wanted to open up a shop and a whole bunch of other stuff. But anyways, check him out. Highly recommend it. I hope you guys enjoy the video. Man, this was so much fun to make for me, guys. Thanks so much for watching, like always. All right, bro. So thanks so much for coming down.
Not a problem, not a problem.
All right, guys. We got a very special guest today. Somebody I've been wanting to talk to for a long time, just because his story is basically my story. Anyways, so do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I guess for you guys who don't know me, my name is Vince Hernandez. I'm 23. I got into flipping cars in high school, but specifically classic muscle cars. First car was a 66 Mustang, and it just kind of snowballed from there. I sold it, bought another car, just kept buying and selling, till today. I build pretty much custom Mustangs now.
Nice. See, what really strikes me is that you're a young guy, obviously successful entrepreneur, and you pretty much have the same background. You went to college, you dropped out, you were going to be an engineer, and then you started flipping cars. And the reason why you dropped out of college was because you started flipping cars. Exactly like my story. I went to UCI, I was going to be an engineer, dropped out because I was flipping cars, didn't want to work for anybody, and now here we are. And now you're building these badass cars. This is actually your latest build. You picked this one up, did your customizations to it, and now it looks beautiful. How long did this one take you?
This car, I do quick turnaround, so it all depends, like the project starting point. If I get a car that's pretty much already done, I do like a lot of like the bodywork aesthetics. It could take as quick as a month or two. If I go all out, I have a twin turbo Mustang that I've been building for myself. All out crazy build. That one I've been working on for about a year.
Nice. And then that one actually, I want my car to look just like that with the shaved off shock towers, with the door handles. I want a twin turbo. What is it, 351?
No, it's a 302, just
okay.
a SVO, 302, aluminum heads, everything.
Nice.
But it's like a T4 hybrid turbo, twin turbos, 11 PSI. It should make close to about 600 to the wheel.
Nice. And that one, did it already come turboed?
I pretty much got it as like a whole package. So I got the car from a buddy who's starting to work on it, and he had that motor in a different car. So he had the motor with the turbos and everything in another car. So I'm like, you know what, I'll buy this 65 from you, and then I'll buy your other engine in your other car, because he wanted to go Coyote swap and all that stuff. So I'm like, I'll buy all the parts and then I'll assemble it, fabricate anything I need to, and kind of put it all together myself.
Nice, nice. So back to flipping cars. Now you have a course, and like I always tell you guys, the best way for mechanics to do a little bit of side income is to always have a little side hustle. Either you're working on people's cars on the side, or you're buying and selling cars on Craigslist. You have a course that specifies or has the information to flip classic cars, right? And you could actually transfer that information over to modern cars if you wanted to. You don't have to be doing classic cars if you don't want to. You could always do something newer. The classic cars, in my opinion, I always recommend people have some body shop experience because you are going to need to do a lot of fitment, a lot of that type of stuff. But with the newer cars, you don't really have to. You just have to fix them up and then sell them. So your course is something that you have that a lot of guys have taken and have already seen a lot of success with it.
Yeah, so I mean, some of the guys, they get in there and within a week or two, they learn everything. They're asking me really knowledge-based questions that are like, leagues ahead of where I was when I first started.
Yeah.
So they're asking these, really like important questions and stuff like that. And they're picking up cars. They're buying really nice cars where they could make $5,000, $10,000 on the flip type.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. That's awesome. And then these guys are just, do they have any experience?
Some of these guys have had zero experience.
Did you have experience?
So when I started, I didn't know what an alternator was. so like to say that you need experience or you need a shop or you need a garage is, a bunch of bullshit. Like I started, I didn't know what an alternator was. I didn't know how to change a radiator. I didn't know anything, and I started my driveway with jack stands. And with classic cars, all you need is a socket set, and you could take the whole thing apart.
Yeah, basically. That's awesome. Yeah, because a lot of guys that start flipping cars, they think that they need to have some experience, but you could always get around it. You obviously need to know the basics. If you're going to be doing head gaskets, you're going to know how to do a fucking head gasket. But for the most part, you can figure stuff out on YouTube. Even with the classic stuff, you can figure all this stuff out. There's guys out there that do this stuff like that have been doing this for years. I mean, there's, you go resto mod like you do, you go Concours style, you go whatever style, and there's guys out there that have that experience that you can pick their brains off of on the forums. It's beautiful. Like when I used to work at the Mustang shop, that's all I would get, is guys that knew that shit.
Yeah, I think you got a customer. Somebody.
Give me 1 second, guys. All right.
Okay.
We're good. What were we saying?
Oh, so we're talking about just like, I think how long it took me or whatever.
Oh, that's right.
So yeah, it took me a couple years to just start learning everything, but like I totally like dove into it, like literally still every day. Like I look for cars, I read forums, I search for stuff, I look at new parts, I look at parts costs. Like I could look at a Mustang and in 5 minutes I could tell you how much it'll cost me to finish it, how much I could sell it for, and what my profit margins are.
And timelines.
Exactly, and timelines, how long it's going to take me, just because of my experience now. But it took me a couple years to start get going. But I would say the real like hindering factor was just capital. Like, I mean, I started off with really $5,000, and I just kind of snowballed, doubled it, built it up. And once I got to a point where I had enough capital, I was able to, I could get this car, I could get multiple cars at once.
Yeah.
And have multiple projects going on at a time.
That's the reason why I wanted to emphasize that is because a lot of people think they're gonna get in the game and then they're gonna just fucking make a ton of money. But like anything else, it's gonna take time, and if you really want to do this, you have to persevere, man. And it does take a long time, but you're very smart. You're gonna be an engineer, so you pick things up a lot faster than a lot of other people. So a lot of things do take into account. Obviously, if you have a lot of capital, you're not gonna have any issues with flipping cars because you have the fucking money that you need. When you're starting off $5,000, you are gonna need to build up. You are gonna need to be able to do things yourself because you're gonna be able to pay people to be able to do this type of work. You know what I'm saying? So take that stuff into account. I don't want to give you guys false narratives, false hopes. Okay? If you do want to go into business, know that you do have to have the right mindset, number one, because the right mindset is number one. I mean, like you said,
exactly.
$5,000, you're gonna have to do a lot of shit. You're not gonna be able to.
You gotta go in the trenches. You gotta get dirty and do work. Yeah.
Exactly. And if you're not ready for that type of shit, if you don't have your mind right, you're gonna give up. So I want to just make sure that you guys understand that if you buy the course and you actually start doing it, it might take you a little while. If you do have the experience, it'll take you a week, 2 weeks. But if you don't, it's gonna take you time to learn. But I just want to emphasize that because some people do take a little longer. Anyways, besides that, I mean, it's a beautiful build, man. I can't believe that this car's here. This is basically the car that I want. Okay, basically, but my fucking car. But we're definitely gonna get started on it. And you're pretty close to here. You're like
Yeah,
right near the
I'm
area.
literally 10 minutes from you.
How is it living in Southern California and being able to pick these cars up? Do you find a lot of cars in Southern California?
I buy, and one thing I go over in the course is how to buy out of state. I buy most of my cars out of state now, just because the market in SoCal, it's expensive. I mean, people could have a rust bucket or just a piece of crap, and they want a bunch of money for it because it's in SoCal. So I find a lot of stuff out of state, buy it out of state, ship it over, and then get to work on it.
Nice, nice. Oh, so you're buying? But you buy out of state in the United States, but then you ship outside of, because a lot of the cars you're selling are out of the country.
Yeah, so I'll buy a car out of state, ship it in, work on it, build it, and then when I sell it, I have cars in Texas, Florida, Philippines, a couple in New Zealand. One I just sold went to France.
Nice.
So I'm also getting a lot of out of the country sales and stuff. So I've set up where I have shipping connections, where I know a bunch of shipping brokers, local shippers, in-state shippers. I know how to export cars. So I've learned all these games, like export business and stuff like that, just over my career, because I've had people from Australia come down and buy cars from me, and then I pick their brain. I get info from them. I get info from somebody else. Somebody taught me bodywork. So over the course of the years, I built up my knowledge base and really learned everything thoroughly.
Nice, nice. So yeah, all that information always compounds. So you're always looking for new things that you want to learn, especially with the export stuff. I mean, I have no idea what the fuck I would do if I needed to export a car outside of the country. Obviously, I would call you and be like, hey man, what the fuck do I have to do to export this car? But basically, all the information that you get is going to compound. So it's very important to know. The more stuff you learn, the more and more that information will compound, give you more profit, obviously. So when you're shipping cars out of the country, anything that you like, I don't even know how to explain this. Nah, forget that one. Man, what else do I need to ask you? There was seriously like a bunch of questions that I had for you. I should have written all this stuff down, man, but I was like, fuck, I forgot. What did your parents say when you quit college? Because for me, it was one of those things where nobody was happy. But I needed to do what I needed to do as a man to take care of my shit. Nobody was going to tell me what to do. So what did you do?
Well, so literally, I think what.
Fuck, my bad.
I'll pause.
The mechanic will see. Yes. Take care. Bye-bye. All right, we're back. Yeah, so what are your parents?
Okay, so my parents, really supportive. My dad owns his own, he's a general contractor. So he pretty much at a young age started his own company. So he's an entrepreneur. So I've always seen him work and do his own thing pretty much my whole life. So when I went to my parents, I was just like, you know what, I'm done with school. Like, this is not for me. I want to pursue my own thing. My parents were like, they're super supportive. And, I've had other people around me, close people, are like, what are you doing? You're throwing away a scholarship. Me and my family, I'm the first person out of high school to go to a major university, which I went to UC San Diego, and college athlete, so track and field, got a scholarship to go there, and some people were like, what are you doing? You're kind of throwing that away. Like, you're like the first one in the family to do this. Like, rethink things. I'm like, you don't see my vision. Like, I'm sorry you don't see that, but like, I'm just gonna do my own thing, because I know I can do it and I can be successful at it.
That's awesome. That's exactly the same attitude I had, man. This is why I was so excited to talk to this guy, because I was like, fuck, man, this is exactly what I fucking did. I mean, minus, these type of quality cars. I mean, I was flipping basic fucking Hondas and shit. I was basically my market was between 1,000 and 3,000. You're dealing in cars that are like thousands of $50,000, $60,000 cars. So it's like completely different market. So that's why I was like, man, like this kid is basically me back when I was his age. Because I started my first shop when I was like 23. So you're at 23.
Yeah.
23. Man, that's amazing. And then did you ever, I mean, you never had doubts, obviously.
No.
I mean, if you're gonna take that big of a step, you don't have any doubts.
I would say growing up, I've been in sports my whole life. From the age of 5, football, baseball, and until I got into high school, track and field. But like I just gained so much confidence on the field that it just transitioned over into business. Zero doubts.
Nice.
And that's kind of how you have to be. Like, either you have to be young and naive or just have no doubts, like, and just go for it type of thing. Because you will fail. But you just gotta get back up and keep going and keep going and keep going and keep
Yeah.
going.
That's
right?
awesome. That's awesome that you did that, man. Because like, there's a lot of guys out there that are really unsure of what they're doing, and it's always the guys that have, like you said, either naive or have immense confidence. I'm the type of guy that has immense confidence too, so that's why I was like, yeah, I understand what you went through. Because I mean, I was, from friends to like really close mentors to counselors, everybody was telling me that I was crazy. I did it when I was 18. Like I had one semester in, man, and I was like, I'm fucking done. Screw this.
Yeah.
So I mean, you had a scholarship, so that's even
Exactly. Right.
that's even
Exactly.
crazy.
Yeah. And I was already a year
in.
and a quarter in, and at that point, I was taking 20 units, practice 6 days a week, and on a Sunday, I would drive back to work on a car,
Oh, shit.
and then drive back later that night. So 7 days a week, like I was just getting hammered. Like I think my schedule I would wake up at 7:30 and I wouldn't be done till the wee hours of the
Jeez,
night, like
that's
every
crazy.
week. So I was just like, school, job, it's not for me. I'm just gonna stick to cars and kick back and work on my own schedule and put all that effort that I'm putting into school into my business.
Yeah, and that's awesome. That's exactly what you need to do. The only time I ever tell guys to go to college is when you have a full ride scholarship or your parents are paying for it and it's not like killing them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's the only time you want to go, because when you do go, you're around the hottest chicks that you'll ever be around, like the hottest. Take advantage of that. Don't be creep though. Don't be a creep. Come on, guys. And then work on your side business. But obviously you couldn't because you were in San Diego, so it was too far away. But if it was closer and you were like living at home or something, this would be perfect because you just go to school. But if you're doing 20 units,
Yeah.
there's no way you could be able to start your own.
And I'd have practice 6 days a week.
Yeah, there you go. So that,
exactly.
I mean, I think you did the right choice. Obviously, your choice panned out. I
Yeah.
mean, you're doing amazing. What's next for you?
What's next? Obviously, I'm going to get into real estate, but in the car business, I think I get a lot of inspiration from Singer, Porsche, RWB. So I want to be that for Mustangs. I want to start getting into like a lot of custom builds, kind of with my name on it, with my brand, Warhorse Industries. If someone sees, a Warhorse Mustang rolling down the street, a wide body type of Mustang, you're going to know that I built it type of thing.
Yeah.
So I want to start getting into that custom niche market. And in terms of real estate, my father's general contractor. In 08, we were doing really well. We had property going everywhere, and we pretty much lost all of it. So growing up, I'd seen a lot of seen wealth and stuff like that, and then to losing it all and going like downhill. I like that because I saw both sides, and now it's kind of like I'm working my way back up, and we're real close to just getting properties, homes, flipping stuff, new construction, building all that type of stuff in terms of real estate.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I really like the idea where you're customizing your Mustangs, because obviously this is what you love to do. I mean, having something like that, building a brand around the car and like doing this, it's a great idea.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously YouTube nowadays, social media, all that stuff, it's perfect for this type of stuff. Because I mean, your cars are aesthetically beautiful. So I mean, I completely think that you should go that route. For me, obviously, I didn't go that route. I stopped because I wanted to do my own shops. So I went a completely different direction.
Yeah.
But I mean, flipping cars, it opens up the doors to everything, especially if you're really into it, because I mean, you've talked to Richard Rollins from Gas
Yeah,
Monkey.
I know. I've been on TV show.
Yeah,
Exactly. So I filmed a TV show back with them in December, and it's gonna air soon. But
That's awesome.
It's like I don't really care about that.
Yeah.
Like it's just cool. It's just something to like talk about, I guess.
Yeah, it's kind of like something on the checklist.
Yeah,
like a
exactly.
good story.
Yeah, it's a good story.
That's
right?
awesome, man. And then what did Richard say?
I mean, he saw like my builds and stuff like that. To be honest, he's like, "Oh, a nice car." He's like, "It's not my cup of tea." I'm like, "Cool, it's not everybody's cup of tea." I build a car. Some people are like, "Oh, I don't like it." And other people are, "Oh, that's the nicest car I've ever seen." Like,
Yeah.
I like that coupe more than a fastback. So I don't really care because I love the car and
Yeah.
I build what I want to build. So at the end of the day, it's like whatever I like.
We're like 15 minutes. Okay. No, yeah, I mean, honestly, dude, there's a niche market for everybody. I mean, that's what I tell everybody, especially if you want to do like this custom stuff. You do have to have the experience and then obviously make sure that you're going to make profit. But at the end of the day, there is a market for everybody. There's guys out there that fucking chop these things up. I've seen guys that do like fender flares, but they just do like like a flare, you know, like
Yeah.
a piece of metal over it. They do crazy shit and people love it. I can appreciate it. It's not my cup of tea like you said, but
Exactly.
this is more my speed. Like Resto Mod, high horsepower, something that's drivable, scares the shit out of people, but I could drive it to the movies, you know, if I wanted to. But this is basically my speed. And there's something for everybody. What's the one thing you would tell somebody that's trying to just flip in general? What's like your...
Just flip. First thing is, before you even start looking for cars, know the history of the vehicle. Like, you have to work backwards. Like, your knowledge prior to going into the buying of the car needs to be like you need to work on like knowing the car, knowing the VINs, and studying all the parts costs, this or that, and then you could start looking into the market, dissect the market, go into the market, analyze what prices are going for, all different types of things, and then you could start looking for something to buy. If you're gonna, it's like saying just take a test and just wing it. Like, you're gonna want to study, you're gonna want to prepare yourself in order to take that test.
Yeah, you're very analytical. That's
Yeah.
why me and you, like
That's why I was getting into engineering, because I'm so like analytical, step by
Yeah.
step, like, you know what I mean?
yeah, and basically why I'm a mechanic and I do very well at this is because I do have that engineering analytical mind, because I look at a car and I look at it in stages and pieces, and we just think differently, you know what I'm saying? So when you're
Yeah.
talking about that, I'm like, yeah, that's basically how you should do it.
Okay,
Because that's how I
exactly.
do it, and
But-
it works
but
for
most
me. But for most of you guys,
They
yeah,
won't.
They won't, you know,
Exactly.
but mechanics understand that, because mechanics do have that engineering mind as well. We take things apart, we know how they go back together, we know how they should go back together. We can look at things and kind of dissect them. So everything that you're saying is,
Yeah.
it's more meta, it's more like, more detailed, but basically this is how you should run your business. You should always look at things and prepare for them, and like know costs, know how much you got to know that shit. So your course
Exactly.
goes through that.
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously.
And I try to emphasize on the structure and building it up. I teach you so much prior to even showing you how to look for a car.
Yeah.
Because that's the biggest step that everybody just wants to skip.
Yeah.
Like, let me get to finding the car. It's like, hold up, you're missing the most important
The fundamentals.
step. The fundamentals, exactly.
Yeah, knowing the fundamentals is always number one. Like the basics, like taking good pictures, buying a car for a good price, making sure that you're buying the good car that's gonna be able to flip for a good price. All that shit, you gotta know the back end of it. Like, why do people like the picture like this rather than this? Oh, it's because they like the angle of the car. And if you knew about Mustangs, you know that it would look good on this light. You know what I'm saying? So you do have to study the car specifically. So you focus mostly on doing one car, right? Like you like to
Exactly.
focus on one car.
I mean, I've had Chevelles, I've had Mercury Comets, C10s. I mean, I've made money on all of them. One of my easiest flips was a 70 Chevelle. I picked it up for 19 grand, shipped it over. I got it out of Florida. I literally did one or two things to it, changed the wheels, and I sold it for 42 in 8 days. So, I mean, I made pretty much 20 grand on that car. But in terms of just Mustangs, I specifically focused on Mustangs. It's just because what I love. It's my passion.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. So like, I could really flip any car, look into any market, and but-
use your system
Exactly.
to get into that market.
Uh-huh.
Got
But
it.
specifically just Mustangs, like you have your 66. It's just what I love.
Yeah, basically. I mean, when I was flipping, I was doing mostly 96 to 99 Mustangs, like the Cobras.
Yeah.
Just because that's my favorite car, literally. Like,
Exactly.
that's the fucking car I like. And everything you were talking about, like stocking parts up and making sure that you know the market, like in and out.
Yeah.
You can look at a car in 5 seconds and know if you can make money on it.
Mm-hmm.
I know that shit on 98, you know, those type of Mustangs because I love them and I've had them and I know the market. I keep up with the market. I'm always looking for them. Even though I'm not gonna buy them, I'm always in that market because I love it. So that's what we emphasize, sticking to the cars you like. Even with the newer stuff, I always talk about stick to your focuses, stick to the cars. I mean, I like focuses. I have one, you know what I mean? So for me, that was my market.
Yeah.
But you always want to stick to one market, and obviously you like the Mustangs, and there's a huge market for Mustangs.
Yeah.
Huge market for any classic car. It just depends on whether or not you like the car. And at the end of the day, stick to what you like because that's what's really gonna make you push through the bullshit that these cars will give you.
Yeah, exactly. It keeps it fun. Like, because otherwise, if I'm flipping another car, it's like, I don't want to be working on this car. It's like, I'd rather be working on a Mustang. I could work on a Mustang in my sleep.
Yeah.
Like, you show me some weird obscure bolt, I'm like, I know where that bolt goes. Like,
Basically,
like
yeah.
exactly. So like, it's just so much more fun to work on the things that you enjoy.
Yeah, basically. I mean, if you're flipping them, you always get that end result and you get to drive it, and it's always
Yeah.
like a magical feeling, man. I mean, it sounds kind of gay, but it really is. It kind of feels like, it feels really fucking cool to like sit there and be like, damn, dude, I did this. You know what I mean? Like looking at this car, like I didn't do this, and I'm over here like, god damn, this car, like wow, you know what I mean? So I mean, imagine the feeling you're getting.
Right, exactly.
So most of this stuff on this car, you did on your own besides the paint.
Yeah, I mean, I do a lot of stuff, and in my course, I go over like 30-day, 60-day, 90-day type of flips, where the 90-day is more labor intensive, like getting more parts and doing more work, versus I could just pick up in a 30-day, I could just pick up a car that's pretty much already finished. It just needs the paint body, it needs interior or something, yeah, and fitment. It needs your expertise to, kind of just finish it up. So you're getting it at a discount. You're getting basically a foreclosed property. You're getting, somebody who has this project, or they've done a lot of work to it, put a lot of money into it, but they just haven't finished it. They give up on it, and you grab it when it just needs 10% left.
Yeah.
And you're able to finish it up, turn it over, and make good money on it.
I mean, and these guys that do that like will sell a car after they've done so much work to it,
Yeah.
is because they want to, I don't know what the fuck they're thinking, but most of these guys are like flippers. Like they're like, oh, I could sell this car, and then they fell in love with their flip, and then they start putting a lot of money into it that they're not going to be able to get out. And what ends up happening is like there's guys like you, guys like me that understand that, and we're like, well, we'll take it off your hands, give you some money for it, and then we finish it. So don't be that guy that buys a car, falls in love with it, and then you put a whole bunch of money into it that you can't get out, and then you have to sell it to us, and then we're gonna make the money on it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that happens a lot. That happened to me a lot with my Cobras. I ended up falling in love with them in the beginning, and then I would like do all kinds of really crazy shit to them because I loved them, and then it's like, fuck, I couldn't get the money out. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, be sure that you understand that this is a business. It's a cool ass business. I mean, you get to drive around in this beautiful machine after you're done with it. But it is a business. You have to keep stuff in perspective. And then back to the car. So you do your own wide body stuff on it, right?
Yeah, I do a lot of own wide body. And like for instance, this car, I picked it up and I got it done in 30 days. And like, so I'm saying like, you get cars and you get them done quick.
Yeah.
So right now, that's kind of my business model, is I'm just picking up. For instance, this week I bought 2 more cars. I got a car last Friday, and it's probably going to be done within a week, probably two weeks. And then I got another car in NorCal. I bought that yesterday. It's shipping down. I'm going to get it next week, and that one will probably be done in about 6 to 8 weeks type of thing. So I'm starting to outsource more work and get things done quicker because I can't work on everything myself.
Yeah.
So I'll do the things that I feel are worth my time type of thing, but it's just kind of getting stuff in a chow line, like getting something, sending it over, getting work done, finishing it up, getting it for sale, and then kind of just keep going down the tracks with stuff and getting the assembly line going.
Nice, I really like that. Yeah, because I mean, the problems don't end, guys. The whole point of business is to solve problems. So if you get freaked out over bullshit that happens, you're not somebody that should be in business, because if you get rattled and stressed the fuck out with one problem, it happens. You get stressed out, but it shouldn't like freeze you. You know what I mean? And there's gonna be a point where you get to your level where you're just like outsourcing a whole bunch of stuff, and then like the assembly line just happens. At one point, you're gonna end up having like 10 cars in 1 week.
Yeah.
And then when that happens, new set of problems happen. You're gonna have to solve those. And the people that make the most money are the guys that are able to solve the most problems over the longest period of time. And obviously, you've been doing that very well, because I know how it is to get a whole bunch of cars when you have the capital to be able to have the money to buy the cars, fix them, and then have the assembly line going. You know what I mean? It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, what's the goal is to have your own set of like your own RWB style Mustang, where you just get the car, have a body shop install your kit, your paint, and everything else, and then you'll be able to sell those and get into the more niche, builds.
Yeah, exactly.
And then will those be like? Do you envision? I don't want you to tell me your vision. Actually, it's more for you more than anything.
Yeah.
I know like I'll eventually
exactly.
see it. I'll eventually see the vision because I know you'll get there.
Yeah.
But I don't want you to say it because I know that if you say your goal, you won't accomplish it.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
So-
like I actually kind of like doing that because it kind of puts like, hey, you know, I declared it, I put it out there. Now, you know, now I'm gonna go get it type
Yeah.
of thing. But yeah, no, exactly. I kind of envision myself. You know, I have stuff in the works where I'm, you know, getting carbon fiber molds done and stuff like that. So I'm gonna have my own type of kit where it's gonna be exclusive to my builds.
That'd be
So if
sick.
you see that, you know I built it.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't mind a couple, fender flares on my 66 because I like the wheels, man. They're nice. I mean, this car is definitely something that's. I'm telling you guys, I fucking love this car. I will do a walk around in the car, so don't worry. I will show you guys. It won't be just here, behind us. I want to show you guys the car just because it's so fucking sick. It is for sale, right?
Oh yeah, it's for sale.
It's for fucking sale, guys. So if you guys want to, bust out the money, definitely email my boy and ask him. Be serious though, too, because don't make me look dumb. Anyways, we'll do a walk around in the car. It's beautiful. So what does your day consist of? Is it like basically wake up, look for cars, fix them?
My day consists of a lot of organizing, a lot of planning, and a lot of managing, I'd say, nowadays. So I'll wake up, I'll go look for cars or something if I don't have a car. I'll be looking for cars, I'll be setting up deals, I'll be like, okay, I want to look at this one and this one, and work out numbers, strike a deal if I can, work on shipping if I'm buying it out of state, get it over here. Meanwhile, I'm going to the paint shop, going to Powder Coat, making sure all my parts are getting there. I'm ordering parts online, ordering parts for one car, ordering parts for another car. I buy parts out of online and they're shipped out of state, so I don't got to pay tax. Because who wants to? I'm spending thousands of dollars on parts. Why would I buy them from a local place and spend all that money on tax and stuff like that? So it's a lot of managing and getting stuff all together. And then finally, like, let's say I get a car out of paint, then it's like,
Get the wheels to fit in it.
yeah, so when a car like gets out of paint or something, it's doing the final assembly. It's wheels, tires, fitment, interior if I need to do an interior on anything, all the trims, the chromes, getting the lights in, packaging it all together, and then doing my marketing, getting the photos, the video, writing my ad and posting it. So it's I get a lot of downtime sometimes, so that's when I like to just work on my future goals and my other visions and stuff. So my downtime is to like self-development and future planning type of things.
That's awesome. That's basically what you do.
Yeah.
You basically always working, always getting shit done. I have no doubt that you're gonna be able to get to where you want to go.
Yeah.
Obviously, when you have this much drive at this young of age, the sky's the fucking limit. Obviously, it's not that hard, guys, to get this shit done. And car flipping for somebody like us that has that in mind, it's perfect. Fuck, man, I love this fucking car. Just can't get enough of it. What's your do you mind telling me where you normally sell your cars?
I normally sell them online on eBay. I've sold them on forums, this, that. I have people on Instagram hit me up, people who want me to build specific cars for them. Now, I have a bunch of cars out there where they see my work and they're like, oh, I want a wide body. Source me a car, and I want this color type of thing, and I'll put it all together, and it's like, okay, here you go, here's your finished product, it's X amount for the car.
No.
And if you want, specific things like, oh, you want AC, you want this or that, then I could just install it for like a standard rate type of thing.
Nice. That's a really cool. So there's a lot of different things you can do with this.
Yeah.
There's so many different paths you could go. You could obviously go the RWD brand, build your own car. You could do it all.
Yeah, right.
You
Exactly.
could really fucking do it all. Where you building cars for people with your own. That's kind of where you're going, anyways. You're definitely going that route. I like that route because it's proven. And since if you like this,
Exactly.
perfect. Because there's different. The Brabus. What else? SVT. BMW has, I forgot the name brand.
BMW has Deanin.
Yeah.
Dynan. I know Dean Man. He does a lot of carbon fiber, custom carbon fiber. I actually had an M6 with a lot of custom.
The blue one.
Yeah, the blue one
Yeah.
with a custom Deanin carbon fiber all over
Nice.
it. But yeah, no, I like to get a lot of inspiration from all those guys too.
Yeah. I mean, because that basic what they do is they've taken a car and they now they work with the manufacturer
Yeah.
to actually develop their shit in an actual manufacturing, company, and then they'll slap the stuff on their car, and then you finish it up at your shop,
Like Saline.
like Saline,
Right, I mean,
exactly,
come on.
like
Look at
Carol.
that.
That's how Carol
Like
started.
Shelby, exactly.
Yeah.
He just started modifying these cars for race applications, and Shelby. I mean, look at Shelby AmeriCorp. It's huge.
It's huge. I mean, that's how it all starts. I mean, once you start going into that route, and they actually do good work, and you have the following, and you have the marketing down. I mean, and that's what you're doing. You're building up your social medias
Yeah,
to
exactly.
be able to sell your cars through social media. I mean, through
Yeah.
all the avenues, really. And I mean, nowadays, if you're not using these type of services out there that are free to, to blow up your business, then you're not doing it right. Especially with stuff like this. I mean, this stuff like goes crazy on Instagram. I mean, you've been on all the big Instagrams like Hot Rod, Modern Day Hot Rod.
Modern Day Hot Rods.
Yeah, I've seen your
Pro
stuff on there.
Touring. There's so many of
There's-
them. Muscle Kings, Muscle
They
this,
always
Ford
repost your shit,
Mustangs, Fords. I mean, there's just so many pages where I put out a build. I'm like, okay, who's gonna repost it first?
No, I know, that's so cool, man. That's so cool when you're able to do that. I mean, and your company's just gonna keep blowing up. I mean, you're only 23. You got like another couple of years before your energy starts dipping. Even then, man, I mean, you're a track runner. If you're a track runner, you're gonna have energy until you're 35. Like at this level. I mean, that's kind of where I'm at. I still have a shit ton of energy. So it's gonna be a couple of years before you even like start not like kind of chilling out.
Right.
So I mean, I'm excited to see where else you're gonna go with all this stuff, because there's a big market for this, and there's people out there that are taking advantage of it. Obviously, you are.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to, always buy the course and get started on it, because it's no better time than today. So tell me more about this car, because we've talked about you, we talked about your background, your mindset. Obviously, your mindset is basically mine. Setting goals, getting shit done, not fucking stopping. But tell me more about the car and what you think. Like, just tell me about it.
The car. So first off, it's I like to build all my cars or try to go like performance but usability type of thing. I've had so many Mustangs and stuff where carburetors kind of suck after a while. A 3-speed automatic sucks. A lot of these things. So the fuel injection. So this has a Dart 347 stroker. So plenty of horsepower there. It's not overkill, but it's not super slow. It has a standalone. So it has a complete fuel injection system. So you don't have to worry about cold starts, carburetors choking up, and stuff like that. It does have a C6 transmission, so it is a 3-speed. A 5-speed would be a little bit nicer, but this is what it has in it. This one's built more for like an autocross, track, canyon type of car, versus something else with like a 5-speed is more, daily cruiser type of thing. And then in terms of handling, front coilovers from street or track up front, and it has a 4-link from Heights, and subframe connectors and roll cage. Mustangs, unibody, the flex, especially with horsepower. But this thing handles like a new car. Like it's really nice, user friendly. So I just try to build as modern of a car as I can in a classic.
Yeah, I mean, the aspects that I see of fender flares, do you take that inspiration from like autocross, or do you just take it because it looks cool, or where did you find it?
I literally just take that from guys like RWB, and I really love Singer Porsche. So a lot of these guys in the industry, everything's starting to go in the industry. If you look at it for classic car market, everything's wider tires, higher horsepower, LSA motors, Coyote motors, supercharged Coyote motors. So everything's starting to go modern, and then stuff is starting to get lighter. Then you start getting into fiberglass, carbon fiber. So the whole industry is going into a track type of vehicle that you could still use in the street. So wider tires. You need the flares to get wider tires on a 66. Because if it's stock, you could maybe get 225s up front and 235s in the rear. That's about it.
That's a big.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So then when you get 315s all around, it just so much meat around, and it just
so good.
feels good. It
Yeah.
looks good. handles great. So, you know, it's all in terms of performance and usability.
Nice, nice. Yeah, because that's you're right. Everything's going that way now, especially with like Mustangs now. They're like everybody's just cutting shock tires out, and they're like fuck this, and they're just putting in Mustang 2 front end. When you had your Turbo 66, was that one already with the subframe and everything already installed?
Yeah. So when I got the Turbo 66, it was just a complete shell. I still have the car and everything, because it's my car. But yeah, the guy, he'd started working on it, so it's a full frame car. So the frames run all the way to the back. The frame rails in the rear were narrowed.
Wow.
It's mini tubs, so because it has 345s in the back. It has custom front control arms, upper and lower. The upper are like a tubular, and the lower are like boxed for like that racing. But it does have like a Mustang 2 style front cross member. So that way I could, try and cram everything in there.
Yeah, exactly. And then on that one, it still has fender flares, right?
On the Turbo?
Yeah.
No,
it doesn't.
It doesn't. It's
shit.
It's just pretty much a stock body minus the mini tubs, and then the front with the front end, I was able to get, I think, 235s up front because it does the geometry of the suspension. It brings it in about an inch, so you could get
something
a little bit more
bigger.
tire out in there.
That's really cool. I want to see that car, because that car would be basically what I would want engine-wise, but I want fender flares.
Yeah.
I mean, the
right,
fender flares
exactly.
look
Yeah,
sick,
no.
man.
See, the thing is, I started working on that before I started getting to the wide body, because otherwise it would have just had
It's
wide body all
yeah.
the way. Exactly. So the thing too, though, that I love about my business is, okay, this car goes, but I gotta get a new car and I gotta improve on myself. I gotta, the evolution of my builds have never looked like this. When they first started down here, and I kept evolving, kept getting better, kept working, pushing myself to where it's something like this now.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, okay, this is nice, but I could still do better.
Nice, man. That's so cool. And there's gonna be guys out there that are gonna want to buy your builds. They're gonna want to be like, I want you to do it. Just tell me how much it costs. I mean, when you get to that point, when guys are just like, here's a fucking check, get the car done. I mean, that's a beautiful spot to be in. And that's where I think you want to go. I mean, that's where I would want to go if I was building cars. But I don't have the stomach for it, man. I just don't. I just one of those things where I would love to have my car look like that, but I don't want to be building cars for other people. I did that a long time ago, and I'm just like, nah, I'm over it.
See, no, well, the kind of thing is you could get overly custom, which I don't want to do that. I want mine more to be cookie cutter. Here's the product. Here's what you get. You want to upgrade the suspension? Check a box. If you want this, tell me what color you want. Okay. You want to upgrade the interior? Check a box. So I want it to be more streamlined, manufacturer type of builds.
Yeah.
Like, here's my finished product. Just give me what options do you want, and then I'll get it done for the set price. So that way, how much labor it's going to take, your costs, initial starts, and how much profit you can make.
Off of that, that's really the best way to do it is manufacturer style builds, because a lot of guys will get crazy, and then next thing you know, I mean, it just depends. There's a market for everything, guys.
Yeah.
It just depends on what you want at the end of the day. For me, I stopped flipping cars because I wanted to have a shop. I wanted to have a business where it could run by itself. And unfortunately, when you're flipping cars, you do have to be there. You have a lot of downtime. It's beautiful.
Yeah, there's a lot of downtime.
But it's pretty much the same. What I learned is that flipping cars and owning your own shop, it's all the same amount of work.
Yeah.
It's all the same amount of work, same amount of time. You're gonna have to be there. There's no fucking such thing as passive income. Anybody that tells you that, they're fucking lying. And there is, but it's trust me, there's no such thing as you start a business and then that business is making money.
If you're just getting started off, obviously, you could start getting into real estate, and you could get into apartments and stuff like that, where you could have passive income. But even still, then you're managing property managers if you set that up.
Yeah.
But once again, you need so much capital. You need to build the capital yourself, or you need to do all the finance.
There's always work involved, and that's one thing I wish I would have known when I first started. But with experience, you learn all this shit. That's why I'm like, there's different things that you need to learn as you age. But I always stick to the same principles, man. Get your side hustle. If you're a mechanic, if you like cars, it's always a good idea. If you like classic cars, buy the course, take it, because you could transfer that information over to newer cars. You're very thorough with the class. I really want to see it, so if you could comp me one, I would love to see it, right? Because I would love to recommend it. But okay, so the paint on this car, how long did it take?
Literally, I said the day I bought this car, today it was finished. 30 days for the whole
30
car.
days, wow.
So like, when I'm able to outsource stuff and like just manage everything, I could, or pick up a project that's further along, I could streamline this stuff and get it done quick.
Nice, nice. And then this paint, what you get the paint out of? Was it just like mixed? Or just one
yeah,
black?
no, the shop is, it's like a PPG. They custom mix all their colors. And this one's a Mercedes color, because Ford, I think it's Raven Black. It has a little bit more brown in the black, so it kind of gets chocolatey in the light. Whereas like a Mercedes or BMW has a tint of blue in it, so the black is like a real deep black.
So it stays black even in the sun.
Yeah, exactly,
no
even in
matter
the
what.
sun.
That's
So-
true. I've seen a lot of blacks turn that brown color.
Yeah, it's because it has like a yellow in the
That's
paint.
true. That's true. No, I really like. That's why I really like this color, just because exactly what I want. I want my car to always look black, and black is very difficult to actually get done.
Dude, black. Okay, black is my favorite color to paint, but it's the worst. It's a love-hate with black. Like any little thing, you see it. Any little chip, any little mark.
Yeah.
So I won't paint a car black unless if like, I mean, the body panels are already pretty damn straight.
Yeah.
Because like you could get a really nice car or something painted black, and then it just turns to shit because the panels are all wavy.
Yep.
I mean, you see all these nicks, and if you would have painted it white, the car would have been just
like
amazing.
fucking
You're like,
beautiful.
hey, it's a beautiful car.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm like, man, I'm very impressed with the way this car came out, just because you did it in 30 days. It's very well done,
Yeah.
and actually, like the black looks amazing on it. Because it's very hard. I mean, every time I do talk to my buddies that get paint done, they're like, yeah, dude, they had to freaking chalk the car like 10 times,
Right.
just because they wanted to make sure that it was going to be no imperfections. And that shit takes a lot of money, just because the labor to actually chop the car down takes a long time. To spray,
Color sand.
sand,
yeah.
and then again, and do it again, and again, and again. And then once they paint it, they got to do all that shit all over again. Fuck, it's very impressive. And I didn't know this car had a vinyl top.
Yeah.
Very surprised about that, but it actually looks really good. The way that like the accents on the rear, the flat black with the mirrors and everything else, it actually makes it look really sick. It's not all black.
Yeah.
It's like a little bit.
Yeah, thank you. Well, because like, I mean, that was pretty much an executive decision on my end, because the car, I originally got the project with the vinyl top. And so either you're like, do I rip off the vinyl top? I got to take out all the glass. I got to do all this and this, that, and the other. And I don't really know what's underneath the vinyl top type thing.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a newer vinyl top. I'm going to leave it triple black. It'll look great.
Yeah, seriously. At the end of the day, you got to make that decision
Exactly.
just because.
Time and money.
Time and
If
money.
I would have taken it off, I don't know what's underneath. I mean, it looks really solid. There's no rust on the car, so I wouldn't be scared of that aspect. But just in terms of gotta
The
take
risk.
it off, the time, the risk, it's not worth it. It's like I could get it done faster, and it'll still look really good.
Yeah. That's what I'm telling you guys. Like starting off as as a side hustle with flipping cars, you learn everything you need to learn about business with a car. I mean, cost analysis, marketing, sale, negotiation, your skill set when it actually comes down to actually building the car. All this stuff that you learn can transfer over to any business. That's why I know you'll be able to do whatever you want to do just because you have the basics down.
Exactly.
And then like this stuff, and it teaches you so fast. And like with one flip, you'll know everything you need to know about business. I mean, not every, you know what I mean. You'll have an idea, like negotiating, learning how like much you can actually sell the car for, the cost. Like you learn everything in the first like flip.
Yeah,
you really
exactly.
do.
You really do.
Yeah.
Yeah, you learn all the what to do and what not to do, and then it kind of just progresses.
Yeah.
And then after flip, you're like, okay, the first 5, I learned all that from the first 5. Now, from going on, I just so much more better, so much improved and easier and streamlined.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you, man. Like that's why I'm such a good negotiator, just because of my flipping stuff.
Yeah.
Like I knew I was like, I have to be under this to be able to make any money. I'm gonna try to get it under this. Talking to people.
And in terms of like that, like I even went down to studying body language. Like I started looking up classes, or not classes, but like YouTube videos on body language.
Yeah.
You have to learn body language, get into situations, like read people when you're negotiating, because I mean, you'll save you thousands.
It really
so why
does.
not learn that, right?
Exactly. And that's what I'm telling you guys. It's like business really does improve you in so many different ways. Interactions with people. I mean, if you're, you know, if it just teaches you so many different things, especially when you get to that level, when you're like, I gotta make more money doing the same thing, you start improving the ways you actually do things. Negotiating gets better. Your communication gets better. All this stuff you start learning because you want to sell a damn car. You know what I mean? So highly recommend you guys start flipping cars or doing some type of side hustle, because you don't know where it can lead. I mean, you've been on TV shows, you have huge social media now, you have so many different options you could take with this route. I mean, you obviously have really good support from your parents.
Yeah.
I mean, the sky's the limit. I mean, you know, all you did was like, you were like, this is what I'm gonna fucking do.
Yeah.
I know I can do it. Fuck everybody else. Fuck college.
Yeah.
I'm doing it. This is what you're doing.
Yeah, and actually do it and stay focused on it.
It's awesome. And I'm glad you're actually doing it from the beginning, because my biggest regret when I started my businesses was that I didn't start from the beginning. I wish I would have recorded all my doubts. I wish I would have recorded everything I was going through, all the bullshit I went through, because it would have been cool to see the progression, and it would have been cool to show you guys the progression of how I went from you, like your story with your 66 with the 6-cylinder, the first one, and then flipping that, like that stuff is gold, you know, and like all the doubts and all the stress that you go through, that's really good information for somebody else, because you're gonna go through it, and it's kind of cool that you started from the beginning, because you get to see your progression.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and it's actually a pretty good sales story too, because when you're actually selling the car and you're like, yeah, I went from like, you know, starting with the 6-cylinder Mustang, and I sold it for $2,000. Now I'm selling this $200,000 car to this dude in like another country. Right. Look at my story. That's actually really fucking cool.
Yeah.
And it's
cool.
Yeah, it's cool to like just show people that, because you know people can relate to it. But anyways, man, I mean, I have so many different questions, but I can't think of any. So fuck, I wish I would have been more prepared. But I mean, I had a really good conversation with you. Thank you so much for coming down. Like always, like I appreciate it. I can't thank him enough, honestly. You guys, go check him out. Instagram and YouTube and his course all below. You gotta do something, because no matter how old you are, you can fucking kill the game. And this guy's fucking killing the game from 23 years old. He's making good money. 100% recommended. Thanks so much for watching, gentlemen. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah,
I
glad
appreciate
to be
it, bro.
here. Thank you for
Appreciate
having me.
See you guys next time.